Yep, and the players are ready to go. They're putting the tiles back into the bag. It's game five. Jason is up 3-1 in the Canadian Scrabble Classic, the finals bracket of the Premier Collins Division that we are broadcasting all weekend to you guys. And Jason is first to act, and he's drawn. Okay, he's drawn fraud with 2 extra A's, so that seems like he's probably going to play fraud.
Fraud or fard?
Fard is good.
Yep.
Faurd. Okay, well, I
Mm-hmm.
guess that's a bit better.
Just like that.
And what's the difference between Ford and fraud, and why would it be slightly better?
Well, fard here would be slightly better for 2 reasons. One, it doesn't take an S. And the other is it doesn't put the U next to a double letter. So there's no chance for X bombs or anything like that. Would be the 2 that I can think of. I don't know if there might be some crazy extension to fard or something that I'm not seeing, but those are the 2 that I think of.
Yeah, and look at what Will has on his rack. He has a retina rack. Love
That's a
to
pretty
see
solid
it.
rack.
He's not alphabetizing his letters properly. He's getting
Start or end
close.
with that D.
Yeah, there's a couple words using the D of Ford. There's one that's valid in WL and another that I don't know, I guess, that's valid in CSW, which is the dictionary the players are using. But this is a very good start for Will. He kind of needs the momentum here. Crinated. Okay, I see.
Looks like that's what he's going with. I guess he was deliberating between that and Dicentra, since there is no the place through the A don't double, so these are going to be your choices.
And Jason on his end has a very funny, uh, arrangement of his tiles on his rack. Not sure what to say about that one, but Jason definitely a crowd favorite to be making some funny faces, some funny jokes while he's being live streamed. And why not? You're on the spotlight. you gotta make it count, you know.
Interesting rack for Jason. I don't see any even possible 8s. If there are, they'd be cool words. But I think it's just probably playing off the F and a P. Seems good here.
Yeah. He can play the word frap through the R in Foward. That looks pretty strong. But I think he's going to look a little bit longer to make sure there's not some obscure 8-letter word that he's missing. And on Will's end,
I just checked. There's no 8s in Jason's rack.
Oh, okay. Good to know. On Will's end, he's drawn the Q, but he's drawn the U and an S. So he'll likely be able to score pretty big next turn. Will definitely needed that opening bingo. If we could get a score update, that'd be fantastic. But right now the scores are looking very low for what has been happening. And okay, Pap instead is the play by Jason, which I don't think is as good as Frap. Maybe he missed Frap. Maybe he's elected to try and block a few lanes because he has the blank. I mean, when you have the blank, you don't need to worry too much about the board being open. Of course, every letter that you can play through that we call a floater, the I, the N, and the A, would have been pretty valid, depending on what Jason drew. Pretty useful, I guess, to play 8-letter words. But when you have the blank, sometimes it's good to just keep things a little bit under control and know that most likely you're going to be the first person to drop the next bingo. And as long as there are a few places to play, you should be okay.
So what do you think for Will here? I mean, cat stands out to me as something to at least consider, but you really don't want to. It's keeping the U and too many consonants for my liking. So definitely want to think about it maybe. but there might not be anything even close. So
It
looks like
seems
that's
sort
the
of
play.
counterintuitive to be playing off the Q and keeping the U, but 40 points is 40 points.
Yeah, I think that's the best he has. Again, it's important, even when you have the QU combination, to make sure you're not forgetting those short Q words, Q without U words, because they can be very useful. Um, even when you have the Q, you always want to play the Q with the U. But if you can score 40 points, the U is okay. It's not the best letter, but 40 points is 40 points. So yeah, a really good job by Will to separate the familiarity with the QU combination and make what looks like the best play.
Bit of a mistake here by Jason. He did have a bingo through that C.
Oh, what was that?
He had focalized through that C up top there.
Oh wow, very nice.
Oh, focalize! Wow. Oh, we have a word from our producer Ryan, in Newfoundland that we're gonna show you a little treat, a little picture of what's at stake here in this event. And look at that! Look at that Monopoly money. I mean, sorry, I'm Canadian. This is money. This is not. This is
your
real
money,
stuff.
your money is so much prettier. I'm jealous just looking at it.
And yeah, take a look at that. Yeah, it is gorgeous and very nicely arranged in front of a computer. Very nice picture taking. There's a little bit missing off of the $5 bills, but hey, can't complain about that. And we see also a little bit off to the left, we see a copy of the book Word Freak, which is also pretty valuable. But yes, these players are playing for 1,500 for first place and 600 for second place. So that is, I think, what we're seeing in front of us is more than that. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it looks like a lot of money, and hopefully, once the picture was taken, that money was quickly hidden. Anyways, yeah, very nice break for Will that Jason missed his bingo through the C. Of course, Fez scoring almost 40 points is a very good play on its own, but Focalize would have actually doubled the Z tile and scored a nice 80 something. So that was definitely the call for Jason, and Will now can breathe for at least one more turn, and he does have the lead.
But I think it's a tough situation here. He wants to get rid of that U and probably the Y too, hoping to draw some better vowels, but it looks difficult here. I mean, I see Yod, YOD atop of Fez, but it again keeps the U. So I think it's, nothing quite jumps out at me yet.
Yeah, and for those of you that follow Will on Twitch and on his YouTube channel, he has very useful videos. A few people have walked up to him in the tournament and been like, "I really appreciated your videos. I learned a lot from your YouTube videos." So Will has a series called "Better Know a Letter." One of those series is based on the tile U, and Will makes it very clear that the U is by far the worst vowel and one of the worst letters in the set of Scrabble. But yeah, sometimes you just have to take the hit, keep the U. Hopefully, your rack will improve from there. And it's not dead. There's definitely a good chance if he draws an E, which he does, that he can play a bingo soon. But then that V seems to be really bad. Before he drew that V, it seemed like he might draw into something like Scrabble, almost Scrabble through the C. But yeah, Jason drops JO. I think we like that play.
Yep, that looks pretty good.
Reasonable.
Keeping a fantastic lead.
What was that, Stefan?
No, it's a perfectly solid choice. Dump that J and take your 25 points and move on.
And Jason draws very well. He draws an E and an S, so he's certainly going to have playable bingos on the next turn.
I don't think
I think
that
the
S is going to be sitting on his rack quite as long as it did last game.
yeah, yeah, I'll say. And the thing about this sort of rack that Jason has is he's going to be trying to focus as much as possible, not only on Will's time, but on his own time, to make sure that he's finding absolutely everything in the position, because there are so many possibilities with that rack. I can imagine that there are at least 10, 20 playable bingos right now. We'll see what Will plays, but I think he's looking at a nice overlapping play of revs making PIR, ANE, PAV, and cats, which will probably score somewhat almost 40 points. And Jason's going to be looking through that C mainly. If he can end in C, he might want to do that. If he can start in C, that's a lot more likely. C is actually an extremely strong tile for bingos. It is the second tile that starts the most 7 and 8 letter words. I'm sure I could have put that a bit differently, but the S is the tile that begins the most bingos, 7 and 8 letter words, and the C is not a very close, but second place. So when you have a C in a position like it is right now, almost certainly you're going to see a bingo come down at some point. And what do you guys see? And that was no pun intended.
Kyle Pease looks, or that's the only one I see that starts with a C, so triple the word. So I think that's what you'd want to play. Nothing else.
It appears,
popping out.
yeah. It appears that Jason is aligned caliphs as well. I think that's
Caliphs.
Oh yes, that's yep.
another option. But both of those options, they don't double the any of the 1 point letters on Jason's rack. They put the blank on that double letter score. So if I were Jason, I would be looking probably significant time here to make sure I'm not missing something that scores a little bit more. But it looks like he sees both of his options very, very quickly. Let's start with the C. So that's
this
very
is
nice
one of
from
those
Jason.
racks that it's one of those racks. It's very easy to get kind of lost in the woods here because it looks like there's got to be several options. As it turns out, he's found the only two that start with the C, but it looks like there's got to be more possibilities than that, and he's going to keep looking just to see if he can find some way that doesn't put the blank on that double letter score there. It's certainly worth taking the time to look, but it's something that you can easily spend 8 or 10 minutes trying to make sure you're getting the absolute best play.
Yep, no, I totally agree there. And I mean, Jason is pretty fast, and he finds everything. But you look, he's emoting there. He's looking to his left. I think he has something aligned on his rack that is potentially not valid, and he's trying to remember if it's a word. That's what I feel like he's doing. And I mean, sitting here, this could be a time for me to write down that Jason is emoting. This seems to be a tell, actually, if if I were to say so myself. But I mean, we know he's going to bingo, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, sometimes I guess with the mask it's a lot harder to see what people's emotions are. But sometimes you can see that they're really confused about something, and we have the opportunity here to be very very keyed in to the emotions and expressions of the players. But I think Jason's going to go ahead and play one of the options at some point. But yeah, you could take way longer on this turn, but very, very quick decision, I think, by Jason. And we're going to need to get that camera adjusted. I think he just knocked the camera a little bit. But yeah, I think it was very good of Jason to have played at that pace, because yeah, you can get lost. And with 22-minute clocks, this is 3 minutes less than you normally have. you need to go. You need to make moves.
And this is not giving Will a lot back to sort of work with here. Again, another sort of somewhat difficult rack for Will. Nothing immediately jumping out. I mean, hopefully he doesn't have to keep the U yet again, but we'll see. I mean, yeah. I don't even see any strong candidate plays here. What's available?
Yeah, I don't really know. It looks
just
like,
for the sake of getting rid of that the U, you can play Bluey into the Y, perhaps. I mean, you're still keeping the H and the V, which is frustrating, but
yeah, Bluey looks okay. You can also play Jebel from the J to score some points, but I think Bluey is probably a bit better. Will does have the lead by 5, but he's not in a favorable position given the letters on his rack.
I think whatever you do, you do probably want to keep the board more closed. So something like Blue would be okay in that respect. But yeah, I think Jebel probably a little too open though. Scores reasonably.
Yeah, it scores a lot more.
Parallel, yeah, it'd be good if you could parallel Caliphys, but none of those tiles go under the I actually, so that or the L, so that's not really going to be plausible here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a nice question from Shalisi in chat. Is it really worth spending all this time for the potential of what amounts to 3 extra points, especially when point spread doesn't matter in bracket play? I'd like to pass that question off to the two of you while I go and fix the rack cam. And yeah, I will be right back, but I'm sure your responses will be perfect.
Stefan, any thoughts?
For 3 extra points, probably not. He actually did a really good job of finding the only 2 77 pointers there. It's probably very tempting to try to squeeze the extra 3 points out. I know I probably would, and I'd probably end up getting, like I say, lost in the woods a little bit on that turn. But yeah, it's probably best you found your 77 points, just take it and move on. 3 points, you never know. It could make a difference, but it's the extra 5 minutes on your clock is probably going to be more valuable in the long run.
Yeah, I more or less agree, and I think a lot of Scrabble players tend to do this because it's not like there are any other like position or equity considerations. It's a purely word finding exercise to try and squeeze those extra 3 points out. And it feels really silly when all you needed to find was the other word. And that was your 3 points, as opposed to, other defensive, offensive considerations. So I think that might be another reason why a lot of people spend that time. And we see Jason drawing a bingo right out of the bag with the other blank. It's going to be
oh my
tough
goodness
for Will to come back from this. So what is the blank here?
Oh yeah, it'd be good to know. It could be one of 3 tiles, right?
Could be a W. Swatier is good, right?
Yeah.
It's probably a P, right?
Most likely.
It could be, yeah, or an N. It really doesn't matter. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. But maybe we can potentially try and figure out what that blank is, just for the sake of it. But yeah, I'll see what we can do. But yeah, no, it's not that bad for Will. To be honest.
Yeah, the score isn't as severe as I thought. Definitely still chances here.
Yeah, he has the K. He's going to be able to score with it if he wants. He also probably has some other options elsewhere on the. Yeah, EIK. Okay, EIK is is interesting. To the left of what we're gonna figure out is snottier, spottier, or swattier. um, but yeah, also just KO, I guess, in that spot is available, and HIVES would be the leave if Will plays KO, KI, and OE, and that's actually not a bad leave. Um, he could draw into some very high scoring plays with that leave.
Yeah, and with putting the OE right there in front of that double letter score could potentially be a huge bingo starting with an H or a V if you can draw it.
Yeah, yeah. So interesting spot. I think Will's going to be starting to think about the remaining letters. The game is around, I guess, a bit more than a third of the way over, almost halfway over. So I think Will's going to start to think about what tiles he's likelier to draw here, and that's probably going to guide him a little bit. And this is something that top players start to do pretty early on in the game, is they take a look at what letters have been played, and the distribution of what letters remain. For example, it's very important to note at certain points the vowel consonant ratio, which designates how many vowels are left and how many consonants are left, and try and just think about that mathematically in relation to the normal distribution, which is 42 vowels and 54 consonants, as well as 2 Ys and 2 blanks. That's the way that I do it. So the normal distribution being 42 over 54 might change things. Might change things in depending on how many vowels and consonants have been played. I think there have been a lot of consonants played at this point. I think there are a lot of vowels to come. It doesn't seem very different than normal, but I think Kish is played, and that's
Will going with Kish, interesting.
Yeah, very very high scoring play. What do you think about that, Josh? What's interesting about it?
I think I might. Well, I haven't scored it up, admittedly. Maybe the equity is just too good. I would, at first glance, prefer KO because I'm a bit down and maybe want to try and keep the good synergistic tiles to maybe bingo. But Kish might actually just be too many points to pass up here. It's 34 to 32.
It's 44.
40 to 40.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, 42 is correct.
42. So, and it doesn't leave the OE spot potentially. Also, Jason, I think, maybe had Clag or Cag under JO. I don't know if he wants to do that, but he did have I guess he's saving the G for the defog hook.
Interesting. No, that looked really good.
Maybe Colt is also pretty good. It keeps a strong leave and the G.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, okay, so about Kish, right? Like normally you don't want to play your S for only a 7-point increase in score. The normal increase you want is around 10, maybe more points. But it also is highly dependent on how the board looks. On this board, there really isn't a fantastic spot for an S. So the S does decrease in value. However, I believe that Kish might not have been super accurate here because, again, it's only 7 more points than KO, and Will is behind. I think being more proactive with KO might have worked out better for him because now, I mean, he drew a couple of constants, which is good, but he left himself with the V, and there's no good place for the V on this board. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of his play, but he definitely has very solid reasoning for it.
And what do we think about Colt over maybe Clag or I guess Cag in this case? Because I'm not because I'm not like scoring these plays, so I'm not too sure.
Yeah. What do you think, Stefan?
I think it's reasonable to try to preserve your only vowel. I mean, he's certainly going to have some kind of parallel play next turn. I think he's maybe thinking that rather than just a 3 or 4 tile parallel play. You can draw into a bingo if you can keep a better balance. So I think Cult is perfectly fine.
I think now it looks like is would you want to play unaged here, putting the U in the spot, or to play more closed, maybe keeping the U? Because it doesn't look like there's a place for dunnage. So yeah, not totally sure.
Oh, there is no spot for dunnage. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But yeah, unaged kind of ugly. You're not only opening a triple, you're opening a double.
Oh, you're opening a double. Yeah, okay.
Jason isn't ahead by all that much. He's only ahead 9 points right now, so there isn't really too much that he can do to make a play, maintaining his lead without creating any threats. So yeah, I mean, unaged, definitely a very double-edged play, quite literally, but that might be his best bet. And this might have been why playing something like CAG last turn could have been an improvement. Because now Jason, I mean, he has the G. We don't like the G here, and he's keeping it for defog. But he could play something like Gunned and defog, I guess, and keep the A. But that scores so much less than unaged. So he's just going to be pretty middling at this point in the game. There is one S left, I believe, and neither player has it, and that S is definitely going to be key no matter what. Because despite what I said earlier about Will's S and Kish not being super valuable, as we see Dag, okay, interesting. I was not going to recommend that play because of how ugly the leave of UENN was, but it does keep things a bit tight, and could work out. Could work out for Jason, and it could be a play that I should have considered a bit more. I'm not really sure.
Probably not worth going with nag to undouble the ends, just because of you don't want to set up the hook that you don't have.
Right.
Yes, he's now triple the N.
Oh, okay. This is a strong play by Will. Good to see that hook for Colt, keeping RE, very strong leave, scoring decently. I think that looks pretty good.
Ovoid looks very nice here. Just answering a question in chat. You can always use the define command. Many thanks to WTFJU for the Twitch bot in chat. But yeah, if there's a word you're unfamiliar with, or if you want to check a word, feel very free in chat to use the exclamation mark define followed by whatever word or words you'd like to check. So yeah, defo meaning definitely is not a noun, does not take an S. So now defog is on the board, that does take an S. And Jason has drawn a third N, which is now 2 of his 3 N's are upside down. I can't take it, guys. I think I've tried the word unwent before, but I'm almost certain that's not valid.
Unwent. Seems like it could be a column.
Jason is really up on the clock here, though. That's a huge advantage. Despite the game being really close, Will only has 5 more minutes to make all of his plays. Jason goes ahead and plays Jaunt. That looks pretty good. Of course, he's still keeping 2 N's. But yeah, Will's not really going to be able to respond to that, I don't think.
Maybe he'll might even play OO off again this game. Maybe atop of Uist.
Are you guys still here?
He's holding it. Can you hear me?
I've lost my commentators.
Ooh, that's a good play. I'm still here. Hi, Josh.
Hey, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Oh, I muted myself. Excuse me. How did I do that? This is the second time I'm just like I've knocked a button and I can't hear you guys anymore. I'm so sorry. What did I miss?
Will plays 0-0 again. And it looks like the right play, and it's worked out for him. He's drawn a bingo, so we'll see if he gets to Raymond Martinet, train man. I don't know if there's a place for it on this board. Maybe Jason will open something up for him.
Intermat.
So we'll see. Intermat. Oh, excuse me, Intermat. That does fit.
Oh yeah, welcome to S Kaplan 31. Good to see you. And yeah, eyeing and jaunty though, that's going to deal with that pretty well.
Oh wow.
Unfortunately.
That
And
don't want to see that as well. That seems like it would block your only spot.
And yeah, I think things are getting closer to the end of the game, so it'd be useful to have a count on what tiles remain unseen for the players. But yeah, this is going to be a very good play for Jason, blocking Will's bingo, scoring massively.
It's a very fortunate draw, picking the Y immediately after playing jaunt.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it seems like right now there are 11 tiles in the bag. Jason has a 62-point lead, and Will's going to want to bingo very soon.
These are
This
plays
might go
that
down
I
to the
find,
wire.
yeah, really agonizing because you have such a great rack, but you can't. It seems in this case you can't bingo, and you have to blow it up. And I have so much trouble finding out the best way to like sort of blow it up. I mean, here Mako making MOW and MAKO looks okay, but I don't have a great sense of what would be best.
Yeah, I like that play a lot. Mako making MOW, playing to the KO already on the board. That scores way better than anything else. Keeps the leave of EINRT, which is very, very nice. It's not as nice as it might usually be because Will is looking to potentially play through that N in jaunt, which is duplicated. But it looks very good, and if Will's able to draw an A or another vowel, which there aren't that many of left, he might be in business. So we'll see. This draw is going to be very key.
Well, Jason's done him a bit of a favor by soaking up a bunch of the garbage left onto his rack.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was a very favorable draw for Will.
Yep,
Unbelievable.
that's fantastic draw. We'll at least have entries next to on column N, and certainly other stuff in tensor, I guess, in tourneys. So he'll have bingos coming down. I guess the question is, where will they go?
Yeah, it all depends on what Jason does, I think. What's interesting here is, okay, Will's just played 2. There's 9 in the bag. Jason, if he plays UG like he's thinking of, there will be 6 tiles in the bag. And so Will's bingo is going to empty the bag. Will's going to be drawing 6 new tiles. And yeah, depending on what Jason draws on his next pull, this could go down to the end game and it might get really, really close. So yeah, this is very intense actually. Jason looks like he's about to play UG for 24. That's going to increase his lead to almost 60 points. Will's bingo is going to score something like 70. So if he plays the bingo, he's going to go down. He's going to be up 10 points in an end game where he is definitely not favored to go out first. And Jason, oh my goodness, has just drawn 3 vowels, which is incredibly clutch. That is exactly what he needed. Had he drawn a few more consonants, he would have been in huge trouble potentially in an end game. But yeah, Will is going to drop entires for 73. And I don't know if this is going to be good enough. Jason has walks lined up on the rack. That's going to score incredibly well underneath entires. And the question is Jason going to be able to go out the turn after that with NAIN anywhere. So yeah,
Cool.
knowing what's
Yeah.
going to happen in this end game is going to be key. So I think we'll have Matthew check that out for us. But yeah, let's see what Will draws. He's going
I
to be
think
drawing
if
ABILMR, which seems pretty
okay,
good.
yeah, I was gonna ask if he can go out. I think he has a really good shot. But if not, then it'll be really tough. So
Yeah, as we see
okay.
ABMRIL. The big question is, does Will have an outplay that he's threatening with those letters?
Well, he does. He's got Balmier or Lambier through that E, but of course Jason's going to take that spot. Walks is the play that jumps out immediately, but he's got to be careful and make sure that he's taking Will's rack into account. But this is an example of where the obvious play is also the play he needs to make.
He could also play Knox in that spot. Does that help him to go out next turn? It sets up Raw in from the R and forward, which is incredibly hard to block, I would say.
And also sets up Winna through the N and Jaunty.
And Winna is good. Okay, so that is going to be key here. Just playing Knox underneath entires rather than walks is a really good play that will seal the deal if Jason's able to see his outplays. And it looks like this is going to go to Jason as long as he makes one of the winning plays, which there are tons of in the position. There are at least
64-bit Scrabble. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there are at least 7 winning plays here, and walks is not one of them. If Jason plays walks, we're going to see a tie with perfect play. Oh my god, I'm getting really, really excited.
Wow.
Really excited, but that's if he plays it on the top. On the bottom, what happens if he plays it on the bottom? I think if he plays it on the bottom, he loses because Will's going to play Mib on top, making Mew and ISO, which is going to score a ton of points, and Jason's not going to be able to go out. So
wow.
Jason, with 5 minutes on the clock, he's just verifying, I think, his tracking, and he's going to have to make a precise play in this endgame. There are many, many wins for Jason, so I do expect him to find one of them. But this is quite intense.
So does Knox underneath win? I mean, it looks very decent because of
yes,
the outs
it does.
it threatens. Okay.
Yeah. So Knox underneath it threatens to play 2 outplays, which are unblockable. I think there might be a way to block them with a really, really bizarre and precise play. Like for example, Umbra from the
Umbra? Yeah.
But that will set up Raw in again, so that doesn't work.
Of course.
So this I don't know if it's even possible to block Winna and Ron at the same time. But Jason's gonna have to figure that out. Will is just gonna sit tight and see what Jason plays. I think Will definitely feels the danger in this position, knowing that he has 6 tiles. He's ahead 15, but Jason has that X. Honestly, that AIO draw, unseen to Jason with UGH, what was in the bag with UGH was AIO as well as Will's rack. So it could have very well been that Jason drew 2 consonants or even 3 consonants with his leave of W. I think it was WNNX, and that would have turned things for sure the other way. So 2 very clutch draws. Will drawing ES to his rack of Inter, and then Jason drawing 3 vowels to his X and his W. But he's looking at walks. He has under 3 minutes left to go, and now he sees Knox, and I think if he sees Knox, he's going to like it. He's going to really like this play, but he's changing it back to walks. He's not sure what to do. His time is definitely ticking. He has another 2.5 minutes. That's more than enough time to figure this out. But he has Knox lined up. He's probably looking, where can I put that WAIN? And he might see Winna, he might see Ron, he might only see one of those plays. But if he sees both, and I think that's what he just saw, he's going to play Knox, which is, I think, the most straightforward win in the position. But yeah, this is crazy. I mean, the best play is Axon, apparently, on the other side of entires, which happens to keep the letters win on the rack, and that sets win up underneath Axon making new, because the N would make NE. So that sets up win on that side, and it sets up win as well as the on the other side of Axon on top, making NAT. So yeah, that is the best play, and it's kind of hilarious that it keeps win on the rack, but Knox looks like it's going to come down. What do you guys think? You think he's going to play it? You think he's going to beat Will right now?
I think he'll do the right calculations. I'm fairly sure he's just double checking. I think he sees the outs.
I think
Also
often in
saves
these
his win.
positions, you might see everything, but you just want to double check. I'm not missing something. He has to look at 6 tiles on Will's rack to make sure that he's not giving something back to him, that he's tracked correctly, that the scores are all good. He has to calculate this. Now he's under a minute. So,
oh wow, he's formed Axon on his rack. He's formed the best play.
Yeah, I think the only question is now, if he sees Axon, is he giving Will something back? And it looks like he isn't, or it looks like he knows that he isn't giving Will anything, and he makes the play, the best play, and Jason Keller is about to take home 1,500 Canadian dollars after leaving the letters win on his rack. I can't get over the irony of that. And yeah, Will's going to be able to score pretty well on this turn, but that's not going to be nearly enough to beat Jason. And we're going to see a 4-1 victory very early on in this final matchup. Unbelievable. And yeah,
exactly as I predicted
knows.
that Jason would win both of them.
Wait, I don't see what you predicted in chat, but I'm pretty sure you're being sarcastic. Yes. What's that in Freedom Bucks? Yeah, like 350. Exactly, physics. Exactly 350. Yeah. This isn't the ruble, but yeah. Damn. Barm is 35. Okay. And that is Will's best option, overlapping Axon. But it doesn't address anything that Jason's able to do. It leaves him still with a new and win. And yeah, there's just no way. The X does a fantastic job at preventing over or underlapping plays. And this is it. And Will knows it. He's down to under a minute, and yeah, he's just double checking. He knows that he's losing, and yeah, I don't know. We're going to see the game played out, I think. But unbelievable. I mean, I guess there's still a chance. I mean, until Jason makes the winning play. But yeah, this should be it.
Wow. Well, great play
We've had
by
some
both
lopsided
sides.
matches in this. We've had some lopsided games in this match. It's good to see a good, close, tightly fought game for once.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jason ends the game with win. The final score is 466 for Jason Keller, 446 for Will Anderson, and Jason finishing the series with a 4-1 almost sweep over Will Anderson, the top-rated player in North America. Yeah, Jason must be feeling amazing about this. And yeah, the fact that Win is on his rack at the very end is just insane. So yeah, congratulations to Jason. Will's still going to take home $600. Jason's going to get a nice pocket of 1.5K.